So Shams broke a story today saying that the New Orleans Pelicans are looking at offers for Jrue Holiday, who is, I would say right now, their best player on their team. And excuse my cuts on my face, I'm an electric razor guy. I don't know about you guys, but I like an electric razor better than a formal razor with shaving cream. And I left mine at home back in New York, and so I was forced to use shaving cream for the first time in like 3 years, and I cut myself. Yeah, it was a mess. But yeah, just wanted to say that if you were questioning the cuts on my face. But back to Jrue Holiday, you could say he's their best player on their team, if not the second best behind Ingram. But whatever, he's still a really good player. I would say he's one of the more underrated good players in the NBA. Like, I wouldn't say star because I don't want to throw that word out too loosely, but he is a top 50 player in the NBA. You could even make an argument for top 35. So, yeah, this is going to be a big trade that's probably going to happen in this offseason. Is it going to be the Clippers trying to get him? The Nuggets? The Nets? We're going to have to wait and see. So I was like, you know what? Let's react to that news today, and let's try to come up with some trades of our own. That would be kind of cool, at least in my perspective. And you guys can let me know in the comments maybe what you think the Pelicans should get for Jrue Holiday. Where do you think he's going to go? Yeah, let me know in the comments below. So I did have one team in mind to start this off, and here is the first one I had in mind. It's Jrue Holiday going to the Brooklyn Nets, who are getting KD back, who we haven't seen him play since the 2019 finals. Kyrie will be healthy, and the Pelicans are getting Caris LeVert in return, as well as Jarrett Allen. So on both sides, we'll talk about this. So for the Pelicans, I think this is a phenomenal return for somebody that is a player option in 2021, who might opt out of that regardless and might leave you and just not fit the timeline of your team, and you're going to get two really good young players for him. And I know LeVert isn't the youngest in the world. Like, off the top of my head, I don't know his age. I'm going to say it's like 26. I could be wrong. He might be 20. No, yeah, he is 26. I just wanted to fact check that I was right. So he's just turned 26, but that is still fairly young. Jrue Holiday's what, 29 at the moment, 28. But I think this is a good trade for the Pelicans, as you get a fairly younger shooting guard. Not as good as Jrue Holiday, but definitely has potential to be a good starting shooting guard in the NBA if he's not already. He was really good last year, especially in the bubble where he was kind of carrying the team towards the end of the year, where they just had so many injuries. Like, that performance against the Celtics was crazy, and I think he just fits the Pelicans timeline better because he's not close in age to Zion, Lonzo, and Ingram, at least not like directly close, but you know, he's there. Like, what, Ingram's 23, 24 almost, and he's 26, so yeah, it is fairly close, as he was drafted in 2016, I think he was in that young trade in 2016. Could be 2015, I apologize, but I think this is great. And the Pelicans will also get Jarrett Allen, who I think is a better player than Jackson Hayes. Maybe Jackson Hayes will take a huge jump next year or this year, but hey, if Favors is gone, you can have two good young centers, or I'm not going to say good, but at least two young centers with potential. I would say Jarrett Allen is a good center at the moment. I wouldn't say Jackson Hayes is a good center, but hey, it was just his rookie year. He could definitely improve this year. He'll have a new head coach in Stan Van Gundy. At least you have two young centers, you have two young wings, or even three with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and you have Josh Hart as well. Then you have Lonzo Ball. You're going to have the 13th pick. You're really pushing that youth movement. So I actually love this for the Pelicans. For the Nets, you make a win-now move. You're going to have KD. You're going to have Kyrie. You're going to have Spencer Dinwiddie still, which is going to be huge for their bench. They have, the 19th pick in the draft as well. They have DeAndre Jordan, who I don't think is very good. So with that trade made, I'm sure they'll have a minimal exception or something to use for a starting center, backup center. Maybe they can convince Dwight Howard. He was a net technically at one point, but never played for them. But this gives them automatically their best defensive player. He's a great shooting guard. He can guard 3s, 4s, 1s as well, 2s. He can guard pretty much everything but maybe like gigantic centers. But in the post, he's a great defender. He was on Kristaps Porzingis a lot this year. So I think this is a win-now move for the Nets. It would make them a top 3 team in the East if they're not considered that already, because you'll have Milwaukee, you'll have the reigning Eastern Conference champions, the Heat, you'll have the Celtics, you'll have the Sixers, you'll have the Raptors, but I think the Nets will be in that upper half of those teams that I just mentioned. So I think this is a win-now move for the Nets. Hey, you're going to have KD and Kyrie for 2 more years? At least try to win a championship with them, right? At least not try to let these guys develop, and maybe they can still win a championship with LeVert and Allen and not Jrue Holiday, but hey, go all in. Go all in year 1. Don't wait till year 2 or year 3 until maybe LeVert or Allen develop into better players. Go all in right now, Sean Marks. All right, so the next trade we're going to talk about is Jrue Holiday to the Milwaukee Bucks. This one might be more of a stretch due to the contract they'd be getting back in Eric Bledsoe. That's really not a great contract. He's probably going to take some minutes from Lonzo Ball. So we'll talk about this, though. So for the Bucks side of things, they get a great player. What I said about for the Nets, this would make them an even better defensive team. You could plug Jrue Holiday at the shooting guard position. You could still have George Hill at the point guard. Sign somebody maybe with your mid-level exception, or even have Jrue Holiday as your point guard. Why not? Still have Wesley Matthews or somebody at your 2. Or maybe, like I said, a mid-level exception they can use to sign someone. They'll have Middleton, they'll have Giannis, they'll have Brook Lopez. I think, man, that's really good. They definitely get a lot better, I think, with this trade. Yes, they do have to give up 2 first-round picks. So, for the Pelican side of things, they get Eric Bledsoe. This is the deal breaker, having to deal with his contract. But they get a good young player in DiVincenzo and 2 first-round picks. So, I do like the Nets offer better, but maybe the Nets just don't want to move LeVert and Allen. So, this could be their best offer on the table. You get a good young player in DiVincenzo who, hey, reminds me a little bit of Jrue Holiday when he was younger, just kind of as like a perimeter defender, able to play in transition and move without the ball. And you get 2 first-round picks, 1 in this draft and then 1 next year, which that pick next year will be like pick 30. So maybe you ask for like a 2022 first, given that maybe you think Giannis leaves and then they'll be bad in 2022. So maybe you ask for that instead. But if this is the best offer on the table, I don't think it's a bad trade to let go of Jrue Holiday when you're getting a good young player, the 24th pick, and a future first. It could be a lot worse. So, yeah, I don't think this is a bad trade for the Pelicans, but I think you could find some better offers, 100%. So the third trade I want to talk about is a Nuggets deal. So this is the Nuggets going to get that guy that they can plug next to Jamal Murray in the backcourt and upgrade over Gary Harris. I don't think you would have to give up Michael Porter Jr. I think that's more of a Bradley Beal trade than a Jrue Holiday trade, given that their ages, where they're at right now in their careers and kind of what they can provide for Denver. So let's talk about this for Denver. They get one of the best defensive players at that position in the NBA. Plug him right next to Jamal Murray, who's not a great defender there. Gives you another almost 20 point per game scorer, somebody that could be the 3rd option or even 4th option sometimes if Michael Porter Jr. is having one of those games with Jokic, Murray, MPJ, and Jrue Holiday. That's a good core forward that could score the ball. And he just makes your team overall better. For the Pelicans, this would have to be, I think you could maybe find teams willing to pay more. You're getting 2 first-round picks, 1 in this draft, 1 in next draft. Gary Harris, who's still fairly young, and maybe if you are higher on him, you can reconcile his career and kind of just get it back on track to where we thought it was going to be after, 2017. And you get Bol that, hey, you could like me, I think he's a cool player and all, but just the way his body, the way his frame is, I just don't see him playing high amount of minutes in the NBA, which really doesn't translate to him ever being a starter. Maybe somebody that can get 10 or 15 minutes off the bench here and there. But if you like him, hey, you're getting a young player, 2 young players in this trade, and 2 first-round picks for somebody that could opt out next year and leave you anyway. It is not on the timeline of your team. So I think I like this trade the least. I think I went in order. I like the Nets trade the best, this trade the least, and then the Bucks trade the second best. I mean, teams like, it's just hard because I don't know if Atlanta would trade the 6th overall pick for Jrue Holiday. Maybe they would do, they'll offer maybe 6 for Jrue Holiday and 13, and they'll give them the Thunder pick. I don't know. That's an interesting one, but I just don't see the Hawks making that type of win-now move. I don't think the Knicks would go after him. It's interesting. I don't think the Celtics, I don't think the Sixers would trade anyone that they would want in return because you got to make the money work. I don't know if you could do Josh Richardson, Mike Scott, Matisse in a first. I mean, that could maybe work. Let me see. Or I'm actually going to do Zaire Smith instead. So let's see. Does this go through? It does not. Okay, so this does work. I mean, I like this trade a lot. Because for the Pelicans, you're getting a good shooting guard in return that you could flip if you want to. Maybe at the deadline or something if you don't like Josh Richardson's fit on that team. But hey, he's still fairly young, but he'll be an expiring because he'll have a play option. He'll most likely opt out too. But you get a really good young defender in Matisse Thybulle, which would be kind of huge. You could try to reconcile Zaire Smith's career and Mike Scott's expiring. It's a pretty low-risk trade with, I think, a high reward. And for the Sixers, I would do this in a heartbeat. You're getting somebody that can definitely propel you to be an Eastern Conference champion next year because now you have a big 3 from Embiid, Simmons, and Jrue Holiday. It's pretty filthy. So I do like this trade. I do like this trade for both teams as well, and I think that's going to wrap it up for me today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know if you want me to react to your Jrue Holiday trades, but I think we've already done that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've already done that, so never mind there. But yeah, let me know your Jrue Holiday trades in the comment section below. Drop a like if you guys do enjoy the videos. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next video.